Tell me who's to blame. Boom, not today, y'all. Even though you can check out the latest podcast episode of Who's to Blame, but today it is St. Louis Organics presents Montez at midday. It is What Up Wednesday, What It Do Wednesday, and how are you doing on this way back? We in here, we got you Wednesday edition of the show. And I'm your host, Dre Montez, and I hope everyone is doing well on this, I guess, liquid sunshine, foggy, weary Wednesday midday afternoon. How we doing, folks? As I stated, we do have a new podcast episode up, episode 516, where I was joined by Springfield, Missouri's own Alistair Fennell, who does some writing from time to time. He does interesting articles on football, past and present, and with the XL being here with the St. Louis Battlehawks. The call is the law. We broke down that football is back in the loop. So wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, that is up wherever that is for you. Or you can just go to Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, or just go to DreMontez.com. And it'll just take you right where you need to go. So check out that podcast episode today. The video is up on our YouTube page, Dre Montez, on our Twitter feed at W2B Dre Montez, and as well on our Who's to Blame Facebook page, Who's to Blame as well. So we got all kind of ways to get caught up on the latest podcast episode. We're getting closer and closer to that time where everybody needs to be reminded. It's tax season. Unlimited taxes and more located at 709 North Euclid. You file the unlimited way. Call 844-563-1040. You file the unlimited way. Call 844-563-1040 or stop by 709 North Euclid today. All right, good, folks. My high fivers. All my high fivers. We in here? High fives in the building. Chest bump. Let's hug it out. Oh, that good hug. Oh, that spring break hug. Oh, how many of you out of town with your kid on spring break? I never knew until like recently that parents travel with their kids on spring break and everybody cool with that shit. Not back in our days of being 17 to 21. What you doing here? I applaud it. I understand you want to be there. You don't want to be a victim of a Lifetime special or explaining what happened in that room. So I get it. I understand the safe travels. But if you kicking it with your kid, I guess the adult supervision is right there. But what are your thoughts on that? On going to spring break out of state with your kid and their crew? What's up, Mikey, my brother from another? Washington, the state that is. What's going on, my man? But I can understand if you figure you didn't footed the bill for your kid, you deserve a vacation too. But if your kids are going away, whether it's your son or daughter or both, and they going out of town with their crew, with their people, and you're like, I'm going too. You mom or you dad or the both of them. I'm going to. We're gonna stay down the road, or we're gonna be on the next floor. Is that okay? Is that okay with you when parents go on spring break with their kids? Now, I am a key component today that as an older person, it's fun to say the days of yesteryear, things we used to could do. But in all actuality and safety, I'm kind of cool with the adults being close by, But just for shits and giggles, it is kind of funny that your parents are going on your spring break trip with you, whether you the dude trying to put out or you the girl trying to prove joy, or even Marvin, that you like them, So that's the point I'm talking about. But I understand that they're talking about cutting down and shutting down on spring break in Florida, down in the beach in there. What are you kids doing on spring break? Here's an actual true story. We'll get into our show now. When I joined the Navy, I had no idea I was going to get stationed in Hawaii. But a year before I got to Hawaii, the drinking age was 18. A year. Technically, it wasn't even a full year. It was 11 months and 12 days. They had just passed the drinking age from 18 to 21. I don't know what significance that mean. I don't think that ever stopped me, you know. That's just something to think about on this Way Back Wednesday edition of Montez at Midday. One more thing. How many of your parents know that back in the 70s and 80s that this was the number one reason that their child got in trouble in school? In the 70s and 80s, this was the number one reason that caused issues for your child in school in the 70s and 80s. Anybody know? Anybody know the number one reason? Was it fighting? Was it touching girls on the behind? The number one reason your child got in trouble in school in the 70s and 80s was pencil breaking. If you didn't break pencils in school, I don't know what to tell you. You make that face. Hold it now. Hold it. You got your. You make that face. You mean that? You think the paper football was something else. I mean, that was a different. Paper football, hey, I know I went to the championship. I won a few Super Bowls. You know, it was a struggle in the early years, but once I perfected it at Clinton Middle, what? In the Peabody, when I perfected paper football, leave me alone. Champ. But breaking pencils got your ass in more trouble than anything in life. That was probably the worst thing you get in trouble for back in the day, was breaking pencils. You could have went pro in that sport, huh? Breaking pencils was a sport back in the day. I bet your kids like, Mom, what Dre talking about? Those were the times. Those were the times. Breaking pencils, paper football, and shooting marbles. That is less than $3 of entertainment right there. For $2, you can break a pencil. Meaning you can buy you some pencils. You can paper. Come on now. Back in the day, come on now. Come on. Make you a paper football and get you a little bag of marbles. All less than $3. Try to buy that shit today. For one, they need your email and your password. Re-enter your password again. Yeah. Now check these 4 pictures and see which one all contain a stoplight. Check I am not a robot. Now they're going to send you an email and they're going to go back in, confirm your identity. All that. Come on now. I understand some of this damn security, but some of y'all go too far. Think of the places you shop at or go to, the type of security that they ask you for. Is it really that serious? Or what you going to do or what you have to do on that site at that location? It's getting worse and worse. The password. The photos in the picture. I'm not a robot. Motherfucker, I'm Dre. I mean, come on. All right, now we got that out the way. All right, we got that out the way. Happy birthday to you if you're celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday to you. There it is right there. My dude, Darion. Happy birthday to my dude, Darion. I knew Darion when he was a star football player at Kirkwood. I think he was a sophomore in high school, and his girlfriend, Katie. Now they married and got a family. Happy birthday to my dude, Darion, for sure. If you're celebrating an anniversary today, I don't care what it is. If you're proud of it and today marks that celebratory moment for you and you're feeling good, damn it, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. If you're just in a good damn mood, huh? If you cool and happy where you at, you're fine. You're good. I'm all right. I'm good. There you go. If you just realize today, without saying it out loud, don't bring that negative shit my way. Already. Some things need to be said every day, and some things do not. Huh? We're getting grown, people. I can see us growing together as a unit. What's that, Willie? Willie say he want to be included in it too. Got Willie here, folks. Got Willie. Got Willie. Got Willie. All right. If you got one on the way, congratulations to you. If you're about to say I do, we will pull him for you anyway, huh? If you're working on something don't want to tell nobody and you feeling really positive about how things are turning out, we already knew it was going to turn out that way. There you go. There you go. The road to recovery is not everybody's business. Do what you have to do to become who you need to be. Huh? There you go. You know, everybody has to go through that time of dealing with loss. You know, some losses are easier to accept. Others, we look for answers, and sometimes we don't get them. But as you get older, you know, things get a little better for you. We get first. We never thought that would happen. I can't believe this happened to me. We get all that when there's around death or loss of a loved one. Last week today, my youngest son lost his mom. And I didn't know how to take that. You know, I didn't know what to do, or everything's going to be all right. I'm here for you. You know, sometimes, you know, you want to do more, you want to say more, you just don't know what to do or what to say. I've never been in a position like this before of having a child lose a mom. And no matter what you read, what other people try to give you as advice on how to deal with it, the most important thing I think I did was I talked to my child that day. So condolences to the family, prayers and strength moving forward. But wow, some things you're just not understanding, but you figure out a way to get through with it for sure. Here we are, good people. Here we are for sure. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so much. There are several ways you can keep up with the show. We have a webpage you can visit at www.dremontez.com. On all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, we're out there under Dre Montez or Who's to Blame, the podcast. Except on YouTube, with Dre Montez. And on TikTok, we've put up various videos. Again, thank you all for the grandma shout out for her birthday. It was awesome. You can find the TikTok videos at Dre Montez 634. Sure. But man, lots have happened. And we're not even to the start of baseball season. We haven't gotten to the NFL draft yet. And they're going to try to tell us the first day of spring was Monday. Prove it. Prove it. I feel like I got my own quarantine going on. Ever since I froze during the parade downtown 2 weeks ago, Saturday. Ever since that parade, ever since the St. Patrick's Day parade downtown St. Louis, I have been cold. I have been cold. I attempted to believe the weatherman today until I went outside. It's a different world. So, with all that, we still got basketball going on, men and women. Whatever the Bruins are doing in hockey, and also what's going on in Hollywood. And have you seen Swarm yet? Donald Glover did on Prime. Are we ready to talk about Swarm yet? I'm going to wait till at least a little bit more people get a chance to check this out, because I have some questions, some input, some ideas, and where to go from here. Where are we going next after this one here for sure? But we're going to start things off for sure the right way. The World Baseball Classic. As a baseball fan, thank you, grandmas, both of you. And thank you, Dad. Love you, Dad. Baseball is like mine. It's a calming force. It's a calming force. Say what you will about the baseball classic. You're ruining the game. You're hurting the star players. Why are they doing this? This makes no sense. Well, say what you will. But if the Olympics hadn't kicked out baseball, there would have never been a WBC. Let that sink in. If the Olympics would have never kicked out baseball, there would have never been a WBC. Never. What the WBC has proven to me is a fan-generated party. It is really, truly for the fans. I thought for a short period of time that the Pro Bowl was for the fans, especially when it was in Hawaii. It was for the fans. Ask anybody that's ever been to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, or if you looked at that game in Hawaii, you felt more what the players of the NFL were doing for the fan base. Right or wrong? Thank you. I felt that way about the Major League Baseball All-Star game until that son of a bitch stopped the game. But see, yeah. That's when it became obvious to us. It was about what, kids? Money. Don't get me started on the NBA. Don't get me started on that shit. NHL, you're trying. You're trying. But with baseball, they had to come up with a plan and idea that none of us knew about once baseball was kicked out of the Olympics. World Baseball in 2006, Japan won. 2009. Japan won. In 13, Dominican Republic won. In 17, USA won. In 23, last night, Japan won. Listening to the commentating, watching the game, the past 2 weeks of the World Baseball Classic, from the early morning games at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, 12 noon, and 1 and 2. I was watching. Just like when the Korean Baseball League was going on during COVID. I was watching. Sometimes it's not about the game. It's about the stories. It's about the story. They're telling you something while you're watching the game. But when you're in a bar, restaurant, you got loud cackling hens around you, little baby son of a bitches around you, you can't hear the game. So you have to improvise. Okay, but when you get a chance to listen to the game, I'm quite sure you're like, there's a greater appreciation for this. Is it better thing? Baseball kicked out of the Olympics equals the WBC is the juice with the squeeze. We got the juice with the squeeze last night. How many times you heard that in your life? One of the commentators said that Ohtani's on that final pitch, it was a strike as soon as it left his hand. Watch that final pitch. I'm quite sure you're going to see it a lot today, all the way probably up to 5 o'clock. Then after that, it's time to get down to the real deal. But all the accolades, all the adjectives they put around all these players in this great gathering of athletes from different countries, I enjoyed it all. And look at the respect that the fans put on the game, how they knew the rituals of the players, their walk-up music, their batting. They were mimicking things. Not just in their own countrymen teams, but other teams from other countries that play or had some Major League Baseball affiliation at one point in time, past or currently, but it was there. The baseball fan passion was shown and showed out the past 2 weeks. Injuries are part of the game. Baseball players been injured sneezing, walking down the steps, making a fucking sandwich, walking in the dugout after that bat, celebrating a home run. We have seen players in baseball get the craziest injuries and things we just think is normal everyday activity. But the moment it's an exhibition competition that matters more to the players than some of you, it seems to be a push and pull back and forth. They shouldn't have been playing it anyway. They should have been doing this. Well, I'm glad they did it. Thank you, Major League Baseball. Thank you, World Baseball Classic. Outstanding job. Shout out to all the Cardinal players that participated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Mad Dog lost it this morning on First Take to me. He said he didn't like it. So what? That wasn't an epic at bat. An epic at bat if he'd have had 10 to 13 pitches in there. He got trotted out of the way. How you get him out? He struck him out. Mike Trout always strikes out. Oh, man. I tell you one thing baseball must figure out, that being Major League Baseball. You must find a way to get Ohtani and Mike Trout in the postseason. Maybe some teams need to tank. Maybe we need to pay some people. I don't give a damn. Them two better make it to the postseason. But what are we doing this for? Why are we dating 12 years, Sheila, if you're not going to say I do? Huh? What are we doing this for? Montez at midday. I'm going to keep it hot right there. I'm going to keep it hot because coming up next month is the NFL draft. There's no other way I can put this. Due to, I guess, my love, my passion, my surroundings, my upbringing, I think I've pretty much enjoyed every event that I can think of that I wanted to attend. I've been to it. The NFL draft is one of those, I don't want to say it's a bucket list. It's not a fucking goal. It must be done. I don't want to go inside the venue and boo the commissioner. No. At 52, I want to step it up. I want to tailgate in Kansas City, outside on the parking lot, in an RV, watching it on TV while tailgating outside with thousands and hundreds of other NFL fans. Is that a doable thing? I have friends that like football. Don't get me wrong. I have passionate football fans. But I don't have football fans that won't go to the draft. No. Nobody. Then everybody else say, hey, let's rent an RV. Do you have a license? With a straight face, at least they honest me the truth. No. I had no idea I had that many friends that have a job and a car, but don't have a valid driver's license. What is going on? I can't wait to lose it. I want to go to the NFL draft. If somebody has an RV and they're going with a crew, just let me know how much I got to put in to be a part of this. I'm dead serious. I want to go the entire weekend. I want to tailgate the entire weekend. We can sleep in an RV outside. Now, if it's raining, then of course we get in a hotel. But if it's pleasurable weather, who's going to sleep? This is the future of our sports franchise, and I want to be there. I've watched it enough on television. I've been to enough of future NFL players' draft parties. I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to be around nobody's family whose child is waiting to get drafted again. That's some depressing shit. It doesn't go as planned for nobody. And somebody always shows up who was not supposed to be there, who told you he was here, and they're not going to leave quietly. So I don't want to go. And then you got to be quiet. You got to sign an NDA now. No. So I don't want to no more professional athletes NFL draft parties. I want to go with fucking a group of people that want to enjoy the draft from the RV, tailgating from the parking lot. That's all I want to do. All right. We're going to take a short break. And you're not going to believe what's going on in college basketball when I tell you this. We can't satisfy nobody, from the parents of college athletes to people who know people who have kids who swear to God, that's my nephew. I've never known so many people with nephews that have just accepted letters to D1 on the transfer portal or who are about to get drafted. That's my nephew. I've been knowing your whole damn life. You have never told me you had an athletic member in your family, but this is your nephew. We just want to be related to greatness, don't we? We would definitely take a little short break and come right back. But you're not going to believe this little take I found on college basketball. It's really pissing me off on what you guys want. Short break. Mountain Man Scrub. Get your scrub on and smoke them if you got them. Mountain Man Scrub. As smooth as a river flows. MountainManScrub.com. Get your scrub on. All right, good people, and welcome back to Montez at Midday. I'm your boy, Trey Montez. Let's do our pillars of affirmation. Let's get them in. We're going to let it go. Ignore them. Give it time. Don't compete. Stay calm. It's on you. And laugh. Speaking of laughing, right before the show started, I was getting set up, and I heard this joke from this comedian. This lady said, I've never been with a guy with a vasectomy before. So, I had questions, it was clear like Gatorade, energy. But I wanted to know, does it taste differently without kids? Look here. Willie, what I said. All right, 2 shows nightly, kids. Don't forget to tip your bartender on the way out. Don't forget to show up for our next birthday sing-along. So saying you got to laugh, you got to laugh. All right, we talked about the World Baseball Classic. Now we talked about that. Great job. All righty. We talked about that. A different kind of a trip. I want to go to the NFL draft that's being held in Kansas City, Missouri. I've been to a lot of things in my life. This is not a bucket list. I'm fucking doing this some kind of way. But I try to do it the right way. Let's get it. We can rent an RV. I said I will pay for it, but I need you to drive. I've asked 12 people. Do you have a valid driver's license? I can't believe that many people have a job with no valid driver's license. What if you get into an accident in the company car? Have you thought about that? Okay, all right. As a college basketball fan, what is the problem? So back in the day, in the 70s and 80s, there was a problem at the point of, from behind the scenes of the game, there was a problem. How were these certain schools and universities getting this talent? Why is it a certain amount of schools only getting this type of talent? It came out what was going on in the 70s and the 90s and all that. The money to get the athletes to these schools or universities, i.e. through a coach, family member or close family member, or influencer. We're going to get this done. Then as we get moving on, college figured out they had a problem. They have a serious, how can we corner this? How can we get a better handle on this? They thought they came up with solutions, And then the game itself got to being challenged by the fact now collegiate athletes get to make the jump from college basketball to the NBA. From high school to the NBA. And saying, hold on now. We got to put the brakes on this because now we're losing out on the collegiate. We're missing out on this guy coming to college. Now that college missing out on that money. Hold up. Let's slow this down and rethink the process. Now let's change the rules and the guidelines and the policies and procedures on trying to turn pro in basketball. Okay, we nipped that in the bud. Okay. And they've also kind of nipped in the bud on the money. But now we have another problem. We have NIL, and now we have transfer portal. They're transferring out. They're getting up out of here. Now, from the parents' perspective, my baby not getting no shine out here. These names they give these players, a power 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a top 5, a big 5, all American. Why? None of that shit matters. Several NBA players have told you this. Ones with clout and ones without clout have told you how important those adjectives are. They mean nothing. They mean nothing. None of that matters. On your path, if you just want to play college basketball, you can do that. You can most definitely do that. But if you're trying to go play for money, for a career, there's a different route for that. I say this all the time. I believe communication is the key issue with 99% of the problems that happen, not just in sports and everyday life. You're not listening. You're not listening. Nobody's listening to the athlete. Nobody definitely listens to the parent. When do you ever listen to the coach? Who's listening and who's talking? Who's saying the most credible shit for this student athlete that decides to play basketball? He or him. But you're trying to tell me you think it's fair for you as a parent to think your child wants to play college basketball for 4 or 5 years. You really think your child wants to do that? You. The last time your child listened to you, if your child is that good as an athlete, real talk, I think the last time your child listened to you was probably 8th grade. And if you're not computer literate or in their circle, they definitely not listening to you. So again, I'm going to pose this question again. As a college basketball fan, to you parents that have been bitching about what's been going on with NIL and the transfer portal and why my baby not playing, what do you want for your child? What do you want? Because there are ways for your child to go play college basketball every game. There is a way to do that. There is definitely a way to do that and to get the education. But you guys want the education, you want the NBA money, you want the NIL deal, and you want exposure, and you want to be a part of March Madness when it counts, from Sweet 16 to the championship? It doesn't happen that way. You have seen a decline in numbers each and every time. They make a commercial every year telling you what is the percentage of people that play collegiate sports to turn pro. They tell you every fucking year, and you think they lying. They're telling you the truth. It's not funny. It's amusing to me that the people that post these comments, they don't understand the process. They don't get it. It's not that easy. Nothing is like how it used to be. As bad as we want to apply those skills and practices from days of yesteryear, they don't work for everybody. They don't. They don't work for everybody. Not at all. You can't yell at a kid today you did 25 years ago. Hell no. You get what? Fired. Can't do it. You can't say, get your motherfucking ass off my court. You can't do that no more. You get what? Fired. You can't say, hey, what's wrong with you? You get what? Fired. You got to change all that around and still be able to do your job with effective, meaning, winning results. Can you do that? That's the mitigating question and factor out there to me. What you can and cannot do. It's just like the internet. You got people going to counseling to get through the day to survive the internet. It's what I call when the internet doesn't work. But when the internet does work, when it's used for all its intended purposes, and that great story that comes out, we all feel the same thing when the internet works. Well, that's what I'm talking about. 13 years. 13 years ago, this couple gets married, having the time of their life, celebrating, capturing the moment everybody's having a great time. It's the age of the digital camera. Oh, the age of the digital camera. Somebody lost the camera. They didn't lose the photos, and then they still got photos and all that, but there was just one camera missing. They didn't really pay that much attention to it at all. Lo and behold, this man hiking and finds a digital camera. Nosy. He goes home, finds a SD card in there. Some bitch, it works. He looks at the photos. He realizes it's a celebration on there. What does he do? He puts the photos on the internet. Less than an hour later, somebody says, hey, that's my wedding. When the internet works, huh? When the internet works. Don't you love when the internet works? That's it right there. I think we have seen enough bad stories in the internet, personal stories, stories in our own community, our own town, people we've heard of, businesses we've heard of. We've all heard the share of bad news on social media. But when it turns out in a positive way, it was one of those moments like, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's awesome right there. When the internet works, for sure. As we've been talking about a majority of today, the World Baseball Classic, and a little bit of basketball to the March Madness going on, men and women's side. But anytime you're in a debate, whether it's podcasting or live streaming, whatever it may be, even in my days of doing talk radio, when you're confronted with someone, when you're discussing something, they always have a question of, did you play? In sports, they do it. Cooking. When you give somebody health advice, anytime somebody talks to you about sports, here's the one thing: like, did you play? How far did you go? Why? Why is that? Because I'm in disagreement, whether I'm agreeing with you or not. I have a different view or a different take. Why is the question put upon that person? Did you play? When it comes to cooking, you should add a little bit more water to that, and use a fork instead of a spoon and simmer it with the lid to the side. Like, you go to school for cooking? No, I know how to cook. When it comes to doing your own thing, somebody laughing with a drink, you're supposed to make money doing that, huh? Why? Why do we do that? Why do we allow that? And what is it about that when people feel the need to even pose that question? You can be in a normal conversation back and forth. So did you play ball? No. Anytime somebody talks to me about their relationship, I tell them this up front. Here's my disclaimer. I do not give relationship advice. I'm a great listener. I've been married 4 times. I do not give advice, but I will listen my ass off to you. That's it. But when I say that, when I say I don't give advice, I just listen. Well, you could probably give some good advice. Well, you could probably give yourself some good advice if you're able to talk with nobody cutting you the fuck off. That's marriage counseling 101. When the last time you were able to talk and nobody cut you off? Hell, I live alone. I cut myself off all the time. But if you don't believe, just try it for shits and giggles the next time you're out and about. And you comment on something and watch what that person says. So do you cook often at home or something? Because I gave you advice to use a fork instead of a spoon and use a counterclockwise stir instead of a clockwise stir and move your lid to the side, now you think I'm a culinary cook? No. I think we experiment more on ourselves and our kids when you learn to cook in the early days, and then you figure shit out. You know what you will and won't eat when you cook. So I don't think nobody's ever cooked some shit really bad on purpose for themselves. We'll throw that shit away in a minute. But the next time you get in one of those, it can even be about music. Like, for instance, I thought the Weeknd Super Bowl performance was the worst shit ever known to man. But you get people that are fans of the Weeknd. I said, so you're missing my point. You're judging on the Weeknd on the booty music that he made. That music should not been allowed for the Super Bowl. It's a happy time. Millions of people are tuned in. Not everybody wants to fuck at that time and moment. Not the right spot for the weekend. So I thought the weekend Super Bowl was fucking horrible. It was the worst thing ever. I'd take the very first Super Bowl performance halftime show when they were square dancing over the weekend. That was getting the people involved. You see? There it is. All right. Here we go. Superheroes do it. Movie stars do it to prepare. Athletes do it to get in the moment. That alter ego. Do you think the alter ego is needed for you to be successful? In order for you to be happy? Do you need an alter ego? Or can you be the one infinite, one unit, just you, all the time? Or do you put on some people say, well, I have to put on a different persona at work. Well, I have to do this at work. Just listen to people when they get off work. I said, listen. When they get off work and they sit down, they just, you don't believe this damn day. They got to tell you. And somewhere in that little conversation, it's going to come back, well, I had to turn my alter ego on and, and do this and do that. I understand that. But who does it on purpose? I have to be this way. This is my alter ego. I have to be this way. I think the alter ego is needed. But if you understand the alter ego's traits as well as your own, I think it could be put to very good use. It's not identity theft of yourself. It's not United States of terror. It's none of that at all. It's you recognizing that you can transform yourself, mentality, and thought process to fit a certain criteria. That's how I look at it. It's everybody has a nickname, and everybody has their name that's real. Their real name and their nickname. Or you your nickname a majority of the time, or you your real name? Or you a William, or you a Bob, or a Bill? Are you a Thomas, or you a Tom? Which one? And you hear it more often than not than some people like their real name said all the time. Andrew likes to be called Andrew all the time. Not Drew, not Andy. Andrew. They want to remain that person all the time. Now, people get three names out of one name. There could be some conflicting arguments. Could that be like a personality trait? I like to use a phrase and the term in the theory of the alter ego because I think you have more control of the alter ego. And I'm speaking of this from a mindset of a sports mentality or a motivational speaker thinker mentality. That's how I'm looking at that. Because when you get into public speaking, there's all kind of tools they give you in order to do that very well. And once you utilize those tools the right way, you become more aware of the alter ego characteristics more than anything. But looking back at athletes that have pulled this off very well, they know it, the fan base knew it. But in the beginning, it took them to a different spot to understand that I don't have to do this all the time. I can do this to make it a little bit more applicable to fits my everyday needs and wants that go on with my career or my path and my progression. I agree with the alter ego. I think that's a good starting point, especially when you're trying to think outside of the box. Look at things differently from a different perspective. Put some different thought ideas that way. It goes with the alter ego characteristics to me. But all the stories, all the books I've read from documentaries and short films and movies and listening to segments and watching segments on this, a lot of successful people understand this type of trait and behavior of the alter ego persona. I'm not saying one is the nice guy, one's an asshole. Not like that at all. They both are understanding. The ego is both understanding what the task at hand is. Because when you break it down to its purest form, it's just you training you to be you in that you moment. That's all it is. But again, it's like everything. It takes time to get to that level, get to that point, to understand that point. You think the first superhero, when he used his powers, he knew what to do with them? No. You had to feel safe and secure, strong enough to share what you're going through. And then you get with like-minded people and you're able to understand and capitalize on what's going on with you and utilizing the alter ego or that other persona to its fullest extent. It's the best way I can put it right there. For show. Well, we've talked about a lot today, people. We've got some things off our chest. Speaking of that, if you still crushing over that one and they still available, shoot your shot. Stop holding back. I watched another movie about that. This man waited 37 years to say something to this woman. And she said, hold it right there. I know what you're about to say. Because on that day, I almost said the same thing to you. And then the movie goes off. What are you waiting for? Shoot your shot. What's the worst that could happen? They could say yes. Let's do this. I mean, you don't have to say, let's move in and get married right away. Let's have 5 kids. Start small. Let's take a walk. Where it's cold today. Just shoot the shot, you know? People say they married their best friend. Well, if this person call you their best friend, marry your ass then. Do it. Get on in there. Get in there. Don't do it. Dre told me to ask you out on a date. That's not what Dre said, but you get my point. All right, good people. I'm going to let you get out of here and continue the rest of this brisk Wednesday afternoon. Again, today we talked about the WBC. If you did not see the World Baseball Classic, shame on you. College basketball fans, what is the problem? I'm talking more specifically to the fans and the parents of these athletes. What do you want your son and daughter to do when it comes to college basketball? The NFL draft is in Kansas City, and your boy wants to go. 13 years later, the wedding camera was found. Oh, when the internet does right, I swear. Oh, if you talk sports or cooking, people want to know, did you play or can you do it? Why is that? Whatever you do your own damn thing. Is the alter ego needed for you to be successful? And way back, remember breaking pencils in school? I think we all got in trouble for that, didn't we, good folks? All right, I'm going to leave you with this note. Dusty Baker played baseball with Satchel Paige, hung out with JFK Jr., smoked a joint with Jimi Hendrix, coached 5 Major League Baseball teams in the postseason. It's Dusty Baker. Interesting? You know it. Most importantly, don't forget to check out the latest episode of our podcast, Who's to Blame? Episode 516 is up. Football is back in Duluth. All right, good people. Enjoy the rest of your day. And most importantly, don't forget to get your pet spayed or neutered. It's helped control this pet population out here because they are getting out of control and out of hand. Dogs running amok around the neighborhood. It's spring break. Put out if you have to. If you're kicking it with your kids, be careful and be safe. And most importantly, thank you, folks, for tuning into the show again. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. I holla. Peace. Montez at midday. Montez at midday.